अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हरिः ओम्। ॐ कृपां कुरु महादेवी सुतेषु प्रणतेषु च चरणाश्रयदानेन कृपामयि नमोऽस्तु ते। ओम नमो भगवते श्री रामकृष्ण। Readings from the Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi, written by Swami Gambhirananda. Chapter 7, page 74. A light under a bushel. Whenever the mother was at Kamarpuku or at Dakshineshwar, she usually had with her either her mother-in-law or the Bhairavi Brahmani or her sister-in-law or Hridaya, who regulated her movements in many ways. Hence, though her relations with the master was most intimate, its outer expression had some extraneous influence imposed upon it. Now, we shall study the divine relationship between the master and the mother, unencumbered by any extraneous influence whatever. And yet, in their free and sweet interchanges, there was no meaningless sentimentalism, no mere emotional exuberance. In everything she did, the mother was calm and collected, without being lifeless, and bright and transparent, without being blinding. It requires the closest attention to comprehend fully the different forms that the purity and modesty of the mother took in the midst of this self-regulated freedom. Apart from the few days that the mother lived in the thatched house built by Shambhu Babu, she spent the rest of her Dakshineshwar days in the small Nahabat. There is a note here. The Nahabat is a two-storied brick structure, about 75 feet, north of the master's room. It is on the Ganges, on the way to the Panchavati, where the master used to meditate. The room downstairs is octagonal in shape, each wall measuring 3 feet 3 inches inside, and the maximum distance between the walls across the floor being 7 feet 9 inches. The floor area is a little less than 50 square feet. Round the room is a veranda 4 feet 3 inches in width more or less. The only opening, a door on the southern side, measure 4 feet 2 inches into 2 feet 2 inches. On the eastern side of the veranda is the staircase leading upstairs. Under this, the mother had her kitchen. During the mother's stay, the veranda was surrounded by a thin screen of plaited bamboo chips. Those were extremely uncomfortable days, and the mother too felt similarly. She said, "When I was at the Nahavat for serving the master, in what discomfort I had to live in that small room, and what a lot of things lay huddled together there. Sometimes I was all alone. Golab, Gaurdasi, and others stayed there now and then. Extremely small though the room was, yet in it were carried on cooking, sleeping, eating. Why everything? Cooking was done for the master, for often enough he suffered from poor digestion, and the prasada of Kali did not suit him. There was cooking for the devotees too. Latu was there. He came there having quarreled with Ramdatta. The master said, "He is a fine boy. He will knead the dough for you." There was no end to cooking, night or day. Ramdatta, for instance, came there and called out as soon as he alighted from the carriage, "I shall take today gram soup and chapati." Indian bread made of wheat flour flattened into round discs and baked in fire. Chapati. No sooner I heard this than I started cooking here. There used to be chapatis made out of 6 to 8 pounds of flour. Rakal stayed here with the master. Very often, khichdi was cooked for him. Surendra Mitra used to pay 10 rupees every month for the expenses of the devotees. Senior Gopal used to get things from the market. Of the persons mentioned here, Golapma and Gaurdasi were women devotees of the master. The former afterwards becoming a constant companion of the mother. Latu, Rakal and Senior Gopal or Gopal Dada renounced the world, assuming the names Swami Adbhutananda, Swami Brahmananda and Swami Advaitananda. The last named was older even than the master and hence had the epithet senior. The rest were all late disciples. In the beginning, my head would strike frequently against the door frame as I entered the room. One day, I even suffered a bad cut, but gradually I got used to it, and my head would bend as I approached the door. Fat women from Calcutta used to come to visit me, and standing at the doorway and holding the door frame on either side with both hands, they would say, "Alas, in what a room our dear good lady is living. It's like living in banishment." I used to bathe at 4 in the morning. Whenever there was a little sunshine on the steps in the afternoon, I used to get my hair sunned. There was only one room on the ground floor of the Nahabar, and that was stacked with goods. Overhead were slings on which were hung potfuls of domestic tidbits. The worst source of inconvenience was inadequacy of the facilities for bathing and personal cleanliness. There was no bathroom. When Yoginma, a woman devotee of the master and later a constant companion of the mother, visited Dakshineswar, she noticed all this and took up the matter with the others. As a result, there was some minor improvement. Through forced confinement, I developed physical trouble, and those fisherwomen were my companions. When they came for a bath in the Ganges, they kept their baskets on the veranda and went down for the dip. They talked a lot with me and took away their baskets when returning home. At night, I heard the fishermen sing as they caught fish. The mother lived on the ground floor of the Nahabar and cooked below the staircase. She was too shy to come out during the daytime. Yoginma thus described the mother's daily routine at the Mahabad. Finishing her bath before 4 o'clock in the morning, the Holy Mother sat for meditation, for the master used to insist on meditation. Then she commenced her worship after finishing her other duties. The worship, japa, telling of beads, and meditation would take about an hour and a half. Then she sat for cooking under the staircase. When the cooking was over, if she got the opportunity, she would rub oil on the master's body with her own hands before his bath. The master sat for his dinner between 10:30 and 11. Whenever he went for his bath, the mother hurriedly prepared beetle rolls for him as she kept on watching for his return. When he returned, the mother would spread a small carpet for him to sit on for his meal and keep ready a glass of drinking water. Then she would carry to him a plate of food. As he sat for his meal, she would converse on various topics, just taking care lest his meal should be spoiled by any upsurge of spiritual emotion. None but the mother could prevent such sudden upsurges during mealtime. When the master had finished eating, the mother would hurriedly take something herself and drink a glass of water. Then she would make beetle rolls. That over, she would sing in a low tone, and that very cautiously, lest she should be overheard. Then, when the mill blew the whistle at 1 o'clock, she sat down for her food, so that her lunch was never finished before 1:30 or 2. After food, she would take some nominal rest and then would sit down on the steps at about 3 for drying her hair. Then she would turn to trimming the lights and doing other odd bits of work, and then get ready for evening duties after somehow washing her body and clothes with the little water she kept in the nabat. When evening came, she would light the lamps, and after waving the censer with the burning incense before the deities, sit for meditation. This was usually followed by cooking for the night, and the mother would have her supper after all had finished. At last, she would lie down after a little respite. Once before dawn, when she was getting down the steps for a bath in the Ganges, she almost trod on a crocodile, which taking alarm at the mother's approach, jumped into the river. Thenceforth, she never went for a bath without a lantern. Numerous inconveniences and handicaps, heavy duties and troubles were there, but the mother never really worried about them. In later days, when casually alluding to all these troubles, she would sum up saying, "Yet I knew no other suffering, no discomfort could touch me if it was for His service." The day passed on joyously and quietly amidst everything. Some may fancy that there was nothing unusual in this her sense of joy, for was it not really good luck to live near the great master, that fountain of bliss, who drew large crowds to Dakshineswar and whose sweet words charmed thousands into forgetting all the worries and anxieties of life in his presence? This attitude may appeal to those who do not care to look at the matter more deeply. But how many in real life feel that kind of attraction for the master even after knowing so much of his greatness? How many even during his life did so? And how many among those who felt that love stayed on at the Dakshineswar? We have also to remember that the Holy Mother, whose life revolved around the master alone, had seldom even a distant view of him. She said, sometimes even during as long a period of 2 months, I couldn't see him even once. I composed myself by saying, "O mind, what merit have you earned that you will get his darshan every day?" Standing erect behind the screen of plated bamboo chips with which the veranda of the Nabat was surrounded, I used to hear the lines that he sometimes added extempore to the Kirtana songs. This produced romanticism. Would but one stop to consider for a while the absolute purity of heart and incomparable love that are necessary for standing long hours behind a screen just for the sake of having an incomplete glimpse of the master through a hole and deriving pleasure thereby? Though the mother was then physically separated from the master, her heart ever hovered around him. The number of devotees visiting the master at that time was quite considerable, and throughout the day and until late into night, there was a continuous flow of music, solo or choral, dancing and ecstatic moods. The mother saw and heard these and thought within herself, "If but I were one of the devotees over there, I would then be ever so near the master and would hear so many things." Here on one side is the new incarnation, giving free and varied expression to his message for the age, and on the other side is the mother of the universe, keeping herself under the voluntary restraints of a monotonous life. On the one side is sparkling disport, and on the other eager gazing. This is altogether a rare phenomenon. Those days might have had their ups and downs. Near as she was still very far. And yet in the memory of the Holy Mother, the troubles and tribulations of those days were obliterated as she looked back lingeringly at the bliss that suffused her life as a whole in spite of all impediments. And she said, "In what bliss I was! What a curiously mixed crowd of people came to see him then. Dakshineswar used then to be a mart of joy." So welcome to the Saturday class on the life of Holy Mother. It's a beautiful chapter, chapter 7 beginning, a light under a bushel. So generally that type of light does not give extensive light outside because it is kept under a bushel. It has got a small area where it can only give the light. It's not like a sun which makes everything bright and visible to the eyes. So the author, the Swami Gambhirananji, very nicely put in one title the entire characteristics and the pattern of life that Holy Mother lived at Dakshineswar during Master's time. It was really, she was a Divine Mother, Jagan Mata, but then she had to undergo all types of impediments, privacy, inconveniences. And when I was reading that, how it was so terrific, when you think of that situation now, and you go there to Dakshineswar and see the Nahabat, the small room, and imagine these items, this type of living that Mother did. What a terrific thing. There are certain privacies a woman requires. We all see that, and how a young girl of 17, 18-year-old girl requires not only privacy, but also be one with the nature, where she can just go out and play outside with her aged girls. Nothing she had. And the Golapma and Gaurima, they were all elderly people. They were the companions for her, not young girls of her age. And that is of course a pleasure for a girl in a village, of course. But here, Mother was deprived of that pleasure. Not only that, her own husband, who was there just a few feet away distance, she couldn't see him for 2 months continuously. And she had that screen was there, and through the hole only she could see him. She was so shy. Before others, she could not come outside. That was the problem for Mother, that shyness. Even she says that when Naren would come, she would put on her veil. So it was Swami Vivekananda who could never see the face of Holy Mother Sarada Devi. While the photos we have now, we can see the Mother's face. And there were some other people who could see Mother's face. Like Latu was a young boy, was a small child. So he used to come and help her in kneading the dough for the chapati. So he could see Mother. But then, Vivekananda has not seen Mother. When you think of that, it looks so strange. How Swamiji could never see the face of Holy Mother. Such was her shyness. And that lady, with that so much of shyness, how she can afford to come out and see, because at that time, Master, that is Ramakrishna, has become like a bee, like a honey of a blossomed flower, where bees of devotees started coming to him. So from morning to the late night, people are coming, and there was always ecstatic moods of Sri Ramakrishna. People would sing, dance, and when people started dancing, he would also get up and dance with them. That's a very funny thing. In a great master by Swami Saradananda, Saradananji explains the way Master dances. That description, you must read it. It's a very good piece of meditation, I tell our devotees. When you read the description and just close your eyes and imagine you are in Dakshineswar in Master's room and Master is now dancing. Because the description is so vivid. So when you read that, you can actually feel that Master is putting one foot here and another foot there, and he is roaming here and there. You can imagine that. So dancing was going on and music and hundreds of strangers not known to Holy Mother at all. So how she can go and stay there? It is not possible. So that is the system in those days of Bengal, that women would not come out where the men folk are sitting, that is the drawing room. So when a master used to go to some of the devotees' houses, we read in the gospel that Yam has gone and Yam has taken the master inside. The outside that lounge, they are all seated. And to see that none of the ladies are coming there. And to see the ladies or to give darshan to the ladies, master has to be taken inside. So inside. That custom, even now in some of the villages in India we do have. Even say 20 years back when I went to Jharkhand and I went to visit one of the senior people there, and I was kept in the front room, and with me several other menfolk were there. We all sat there and the menfolk came and talked to me and the ladies are inside. None I could see. And later they came and said, Maharaj, the ladies want to make pranam to you. Would you please come inside? Then I was taken to that inside room where all the ladies were sitting, and then they made pranam to me. So even now that system is there in many villages. So in those days you can imagine 150 years back how it was terrible. And mother could take all these difficulties without any murmur. That is the situation. Why we are reading the sufferings of the Holy Mother? It is because to know her character, how you will know how she was at that time. By reading this, we feel very unhappy. We are actually disheartened. And we think, such a wonderful lady and shy lady, she could have been given some comforts, but that was also not there. And so much of cooking she had to do for the people, the devotees. There was no, except Latu and Advaitananda Gopal Maharaj to go and fetch things. There was nobody to help her. And many days she has done all alone. And when Ramdatta used to come from that distance itself, he will shout. Because he cannot go and tell Holy Mother at Nabat. So he will shout so that she can hear it. Once she listens to that shouting, then she will immediately start preparing. Because he is a very busy man. He is a doctor. She will come and meet Maharaj and then go away. So before that she should prepare. So he is also see how. And he is coming from long distance, from Calcutta. From Kakudgachi he is coming. So naturally, as a long distance, in those days the distance was a big thing. And he would shout, says, as he alighted from the carriage, he would shout, I shall take today gram soup and chapati. Gram soup, we all know the dal, chola dal. Chola dal and then chapati he would take. And that was of course liked by Narayan also. So that was a special dish for them. So when we see that even khichudi was made sometimes. Surendra Mitra, one of the wonderful devotees of Sri Ramakrishna, he used to give 10 rupees per month for the expenses of the devotees. Just imagine how the devotees came forward to meet the needs of the Master and Holy Mother. And this custom, even till today, is continued in many places, and Dublin is not an exception to that. Even in Dublin, every day devotees bring some food for the two Swamis here. Every day one family comes and brings food. It's something wonderful. How Master has kept up the tradition, I think. Everywhere he has kept up that. And in other places where we have cooks, etc., where everything is arranged, there also sometimes devotees bring one dish, which they prepare, very delicate dish they prepare, and bring it and offer to the sadhus. So likewise, this attention to the Master's devotees is something important. And that's why whenever people come here, we tell, please take food with us. Whatever food is there, we shall share. Even the quantity is less for us, it doesn't matter. Let us share with others, because they are all devotees of Sri Ramakrishna. Devotees of Sri Ramakrishna coming to the ashram, going away, is something our senior Swamis cannot at all understand them. They would ask, did you take prasad? In the places of ashrams where we have got daily puja, it's called Nitya Puja of Sri Ramakrishna, we offer food for Sri Ramakrishna. Food, either it is the form of fruits or cooked food. So those fruits and cooked fruits are cut into pieces and kept ready in a packet. So when people come and they cannot sit for their lunch or supper, we give that packet of prasad. Take prasad. Something you should take, which is offered to Guru Maharaj. And you know what is offered to Guru Maharaj is something wonderful. I used to go to Chennai Mat as a young boy, as a college student. And there was one Swami was there, Swami Paramatmananda. And he was a Tamil Swami. So I could not speak English, neither I knew Bangla. So what I would do, there was Bengali Swami was there, and the head was a Bengali Swami. I couldn't talk to him in Bengali. And we had to talk to him in English. And English, you know, that colloquial, that conversation, English we never picked up. We were all studying in Tamil medium. So only one Tamil Swami I found. At least I can go and sit with him and listen to him. And he was the editor of one Tamil magazine. So he used to, whenever I used to go, he knew that which days I am coming. Saturday was a half day in college. So after finishing the college, I would go to meet him. And when I go there, he would give in a small bowl a beautiful prasad, sandesh, which is offered to Sri Ramakrishna. One sweet dish would be there. So I have been eating that. And for the sweet dish only I would go to him. Not for anything else. Oh, what a wonderful, that sweet dish is there. Oh, today I must go and take. And it is prasad of Sri Ramakrishna. So the prasadi dish I must have. Like that I used to think in those days. And then after joining, that type of prasad, who will give us? So no prasad like that only. So whatever is given to all, that's what we also take. So but the special kind of relationship I saw, that a devotee has come to the ashram. The devotee should not go without having prasad. So that's why we say that something must eat and go like that. And when people go away without having anything, even a cup of tea, so we feel very bad. So that Gopal, that senior Gopal, used to get things from the market. So what mother was telling is that the room's entrance was so low, and when she had to go several times, she hit her head. When I was reading this, I found, however, Swami Purnananda used to hit his head every time in his office. That office is a very bad condition. Even now it is still there. And when he gets up from his chair, he gets hit. So I feel very bad, And it is like Nahavat only. It's a small room only. And in that room he was sleeping. Just mind that. There is one cot, that is the bed is such a way, is a one staircase is there. So you go up and then you sleep. And down below is the table. And that is used for office. Such a terrible thing it is. And how many times he hit his head, on that. And that happens. But mother learned a lesson. What lesson she learned? Whenever she would enter that place, she would bend her head and go, which I would advise Purnananji also. When he gets up, he should bend and get up, so that he doesn't get hurt. When he gets hurt, I feel very bad. Oh, this man so much, he's working and he's getting hurt. And he would not sometimes say, from my room I can hear the sound. Then I know some accident has happened. So like that. So she has to bend her head. So but gradually I got used to it. Even the hitting also, she got used to it. And my head would bend as I approached the door. The thing that pains our heart in these passages is mother had to take bath at 4 o'clock in the morning. Imagine, at 4 is quite, in winter time in Calcutta, it is, the sun comes only at 6:30, 7 o'clock. And it's all dark. At 4 o'clock, how dark it would be. And once one crocodile has come there, and it was resting on the staircase. And then when mother went, not knowing that crocodile is there, when she went there and the crocodile saw her, I think the crocodile heard the sound of the mother's steps, and then the crocodile jumped into the river. Think at that moment, mother, that small girl is standing there, and how she will take bath, knowing that crocodile has just gone there. So terrific, I say. And like that, and then ablutions. It's a big problem. There was no bathroom. For women, that's a very important arrangement that men have to look for that. And that was not there. And then how she had undergone such inconveniences and our inadequacy of the facilities for bathing and personal cleanliness. Personal cleanliness is very important for a woman, and that is not also there, and at that age. And you find that so. But the author, while describing the troubles that mother faced, he also points out what is the mental condition of Holy Mother. And that is where we come to know that she is a divine mother, not an ordinary woman. An ordinary woman can go on complaining. Nowadays we hear that when some of the marital counseling we do, and we understand the woman complains so much about her husband. And complaints are silly things, not very serious things, that he is beating me, etc. No, silly things. So that type of complaints are given by women folk. But you see here, mother had no complaint. But in her later days only we all come to know. Later days only when mother started remembering that and telling as a recollection, then only we come to know all these things. And he says, yet I knew no other suffering. That is something wonderful. No discomfort could touch me if it was for his service. If it is for Sri Ramakrishna's service, whatever discomfort is there, I am ready to undergo. The day passed on joyously and quietly amidst everything. It is. So, the author is a very analytical, mental person. So, Swami Kabiranji used to analyze everything. So, when he was the General Secretary, we have seen him. So, I saw him. So, in Kanpur, when the Brahmachari Maharaj came, and then he was the General Secretary at that time. And then the evening, he spoke on the Khandana Bhavandana. So I once told, I think, I do not know whether I told here or not. So our Bade Maharaj told me, hey, Maharaj has come, you attend to his personal needs. So taking his clothes and washing, etc., I used to do it. So after bringing the clothes, etc., in his room I kept. At that time he was all alone. So he asked me, what is the meaning of Sampada Tava Sri Pada? You know, you all worship Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna's holy feet, we say, and that holy feet is Sri Pada. And it is Sampada Tava Sri Pada. Tava means yours. Your Sri Pada, your holy feet is Sampada, is the property. Sampad means property, you know that. Is the property. What is the meaning of this? So I couldn't tell. And I was wondering how to, and he's General Secretary. First of all, I had fear for him, and he's a very stern man. He would not just joke just like that. So very difficult to talk to him. I like that, I thought. Later only I came to know of his mild nature. But then, on that day I could not say anything. And then he looked at me, okay. Then the evening came. Then our Bade Maharaj, Swamiji has come today, let him address the audience like that. He requested him. And strangely, he took up that and then explained. As if only for me he is explaining that. Because I didn't know that. So he was explaining the whole thing. So it was wonderful that Swami, he is very analytical. And that's why he says, what is there to praise about Holy Mothers feeling blessedness? Holy Mothers feeling happy. Holy Mothers feeling always joyful. In spite of all the inconveniences, what is there to speak of that? Is this anything to be great? Like that some people may raise in their mind. While some may fancy, he says, some may fancy that there was nothing unusual in this. What is there unusual in this? Like that. Because we, as far from Master's time, when we read that, we think Holy Mother was very near to Great Master. And Sri Ramakrishna was marked of joy, as we say this. So when he is full of bliss and she is staying with that type of person, she would be also in a blissful state. There is nothing great to wonder at that. That's what some may say. But then he analyzes that point. What a beautifully he says. The fountain of bliss Sri Ramakrishna was. He drew large crowds to the Dakshineswar. His sweet words charmed thousands into forgetting all the worries and anxieties of life. When thousands of people are getting forgetful of their worries and anxieties, what is the big thing that to tell that Holy Mother forgot all her worries? Because she is with Sri Ramakrishna. So what is their unusualness? This attitude may appeal, this question may come into the mind of some people who are there, who do not care to look at the matter more deeply. So he says, a cursory glance of the Master's life or Holy Mother's life if you read. So you will not go deeply into that. So he wants us to go think deeply. That's why, suppose he has not explained this point and he has gone further in the life, then we would not have even thought of that. So he gives a very good opportunity for us to think about that. What is that deeply thinking about? That means what? Then he puts the question, how many in real life feel that kind of attraction for the Master? Thinking of his greatness. When Sri Ramakrishna was there in Calcutta, when he used to go to Calcutta from Dakshineshwar, millions of people were there. Even at that time, Calcutta was the capital of India. So, as a capital, it started attracting huge number of people from all the provinces. And so, you find that thousands and thousands of people used to come there. And many people used to come to Dakshineshwar also. And how many could come and see Sri Ramakrishna? No. It was not that everybody who came to Dakshineshwar met Sri Ramakrishna. There are many people who are not attracted to Master. There are some people also, when M says in one place that when he come with the other persons, they will just come and then they wouldn't like to sit in Sri Ramakrishna's room and listen to all the divine talks. They would say they would be very much fidgety. So Sri Ramakrishna used to tell, why don't you go and see some of the buildings? You would say, no, the Rani Rasmani has built nice buildings, so go and see all those buildings. So they will get up and very quickly they will get up and go away. Some will say, no, we have to go to the boat and we shall just have some nice breeze because they have to smoke, you see. So they will go away there and go away. So such people are there. They had the opportunity to be with Sri Ramakrishna, but they never utilized that. And then he says, how many even during his life did so? So this is, now Dakshineshwar we are all going, remembering Sri Ramakrishna. When he was living in person, how many were there who felt the love and stayed on at Dakshineshwar? There were facilities for staying on, but nobody stayed there. We have also to remember that the Holy Mother, whose life revolved around the Master alone, had seldom even a distant view of him. There are many people who came and met Sri Ramakrishna, talked to him. Even lady devotees used to come and meet him. But then, when they come with their husbands, mother cannot go to Master's room. So that was the condition. And even though she was staying there for as long a period of 2 months, she couldn't even meet him, talk to him. And at that time, what is the condition of Holy Mother's mind? She would console herself. That consoling is something, one of this is called the expression of sattvic guna. If you are sattvic, if you are tamasic, you will suffer and you will blame and you will curse when the sufferings comes. If you are rajasic, you will suffer and you will try to find out how to overcome the sufferings. If you are sattvic, you will console your mind. How she consoles? She says, oh mind, what merit have you earned that you will get his darshan every day? Is it possible to get darshan of Sri Ramakrishna every day? So there are some devotees who tell us, when they say in South Africa, I have seen some devotees used to come and once in a month only they could come because they live 4 hours, 5 hours distant place. So monthly once they would come and they would say, Maharaj, we console ourselves how these devotees in Durban are so happy and they come and meet you. Anytime they can meet you. And they come every Saturday. Every Saturday satsang. We used to have about 300 people. So the 300 people are so fortunate that they are coming and meeting you. And there are some people who can come every day. But we didn't have that opportunity. We come once in a month. At that time we tell ourselves, oh, what punya we have done to see you every week We have not done enough punya. That's why we are kept at a long distance and we come once in a month. You see, this is the attitude of a Satvika book. So Holy Mother was Sattvic, and she should say, oh mind, what merit have you earned? What punya you have earned to see Ramakrishna every day? Okay, you didn't see him today. That means you did not have any merit to see him. That's so. Standing erect behind the bamboo chips, and she would see the veranda, she used to hear the lines of Master used to sing. That itself gave her a great joy, only listening to the voice of Sri Ramakrishna. And she was standing for hours together, and that led her to romanticism. This produced romanticism, the author says. It's mother's own words. She says, standing there, I used to hear the lines, and he used to add extempore to the Kirtana songs. That's also the beauty of Sri Ramakrishna. How many things he knew, you see. He knew he's omniscient, so he could know everything. Some, you add, say, you sing one song of Ram Prasad, 2 lines, Sri Ramakrishna himself would add. Exactly according to the meter, according to that. So it's such a beautiful thing. And she would understand immediately, oh, these lines are not in that song. These are all produced by Sri Ramakrishna instantly. So he was a poet, Kavi. In Upanishads, the word Kavi is used for the Rishi who has realized himself. He says Kavi. So that is the word used. But the normal translation is poet. So a Kavi is a poet. And Sri Ramakrishna was a poet, definitely. And she used to hear that. And standing long hours behind a screen, just try to understand what a pressure she would have got by then. Though the Master was then physicality separated from the Master, her heart ever hovered around him. And this is one thing also must be noted, that Mother was thinking of Sri Ramakrishna all the time. That's why Abhedananji, in his beautiful hymn on Holy Mother, so Prakritim Paramam, in that he says, Ramakrishna Katha Prana. So, Tannama Shravana Priya. You tell, if you go to Holy Mother and say, what Holy Mother likes the best. So you may say, does she like khichdi? Because from childhood onwards, she knows what is khichdi. She used to distribute khichdi to the people of the villages. So does she like khichdi? No, the khichdi she may like. But then, the thing that she liked most is the name of Sri Ramakrishna. So when I used to go to Bombay Ashram, in Bombay, Ramakrishna's main temple is there. And left to that, there is a small monks' quarters entrance there. Upstairs, if you go, there is a separate Holy Mother's shrine is there. So I feel blessed, to think about the Holy Mother's shrine, because in that very shrine, I have got initiated. So that shrine is very great, much more holy for me. So whenever I go there and sit and look at Holy Mother. And you see that when you go there and look at her, at that time, you may sing the Prakritim Paramam. You think that Holy Mother will be very happy. No. Along with Prakritim Paramam, you have to take the name of Sri Ramakrishna. Tannama Shravana Priya. Shravana, only to listen to the name of Sri Ramakrishna, she becomes Ranjita Karam. She becomes completely blushed. Her face becomes red. Her whole body stands on end, the hair stand on end. Mere hearing of the name of Sri Ramakrishna. So, he says that day and night her mind was on Sri Ramakrishna. The mother used to see this and heard this and thought within herself, oh, I would be like one of those devotees. I would be also sitting in front of him and enjoying all his things. And Master was not a simple a religious person or a spiritual person only in meditation. No, he was very jovial also. So when the devotees come and talk to him, he would cut a lot of fun and make a lot of fun and cut a lot of jokes. You find in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, we see on Sunday classes, if you can attend, you can see how many jokes he cuts. And it is such a wonderful thing to be with the Master. So now the two personalities, Sri Ramakrishna one side and Holy Mother another, what are the differences that the author thinks? Sri Gambhirananji, he says, here on one side is the new incarnation, giving free and varied expression of his message. On the other side is the mother of the universe, keeping herself under the voluntary restraints of a monotonous life. Here there is no monotonous for Sri Ramakrishna. He is the new incarnation and he is leading a life full of bliss and so much of variety is there. But the other side, only a few feet away, the Divine Mother is there. She is completely leading monotonous life under voluntary restraints. Nobody has told her you should be living like that. But she took upon herself. And he says, on the one side is a sparkling disport and on the other eager gazing. Apart from gazing, what she could do? Through that small hole, she could gaze upon. That's what she could do. Those days might have had their ups and downs. Near as she was still very far. How it will be troublesome to her, etc., etc. We see that the troublesome that she has been experiencing. Yes, we all understand that, we read that and how she was so, but then what is her final word about that? In what bliss I was. After narrating all her experiences during that time, she just goes into a semi-conscious state and then she says, in what bliss I was. So she was recounting that. What a curiously mixed crowd of people came to see him then. Dakshineswar used then to be a mart of joy. This is mart of joy. Mart means bazaar. So a bazaar, you find hundreds of people coming and going. If you go to these weekly bazaars in India, you can see that how people come and lots of talks and the crowd is talking and so much of sound you can hear. And it's a mart of joy. It is not a mart where you exchange certain items, groceries, etc. But here, joy is exchanged. So joy between the devotees and Sri Ramakrishna. As the devotees got so happy to see Sri Ramakrishna, the devotees also got joy in seeing Sri Ramakrishna. So it was a mart of joy. How beautifully he concludes this passage. We shall continue later. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tatsat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.